If you were to go diving almost anywhere in the shallows of an Indo-Pacific Ocean, there's a good chance you'll find a Moray eel stationed in one of the porous holes left in the rocky coral reefs. Looking like a cross between a snake, a dragon, and a cartoon witch, the Moray eel poses little threat to humans, but is a menace to reef fish. With an unusual jaw that you might find in a painting by H.R. Geiger, the moray may seem a little unhinged when he eats. But getting a good grip on your prey is the best way to catch a slippery fish here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
And today we're talking about a sci-fi fish with some grumpy gills, but more on that later.
Very sci-fi. Specifically sci-fi.
The gills, per se, are not grumpy themselves, but this is a, aggressive creature.
He looks grumpy.
Yeah, he looks grumpy for sure. And he has gills.
Pretty grumpy. So yeah, hey Mr. Grumpy Gills. Before we get started, I wanted to talk about quickly something I did last week, which was an awesome animal adventure.
Oh.
It actually technically wasn't an animal, but Bibby and I went kayaking in brackish water down in Titusville, Florida, and there is a bioluminescent plankton that lives there, just billions of these things, and if it's dark enough, you can see them light up as you disturb the water. So you dip your paddle in the water and suddenly it starts to glow with this bright smoke.
Like you're a Disney princess.
Yeah. And guess what? If there were fish jumping out of the water everywhere, and birds flying overhead, it really was. There was a raccoon we saw. Whenever I sang, things came to my boat.
Did you kiss the girl?
Well, speaking of that movie, we're about to do one of the main antagonists.
That's true. The main antagonist. Yeah, that's right.
I recommend the bioluminescent kayaking tour to anyone who's close to Titusville.
I definitely want to do that one day.
It's super cool, and the best time to go is when it's as dark as possible in the middle of summer.
Interesting. All right, let's taxonomize Ursula.
Or Ursula's lackeys.
Ananias and Sapphira.
What?
Wait, what? What are their names?
Flotsam and Jetsam.
That's right. I thought they had sold their house and lied about it and then were killed by the Lord.
Yeah, Ursula's lackeys, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Just any duo is these guys. Well, what animal are we doing, Joe?
We're doing the Moray Eel, and not just any Moray Eel, the giant Moray.
Yes, which I think is what's in the Little Mermaid movie, the giant one, because of how big they are. They're big boys. Butch and Sundance. But we're gonna call them like you said, we're gonna talk about moray eels in general. But yeah, the giant moray eel is kind of the archetypical eel, like shape and color and everything. So we're gonna call it the verdant fish dragon, the perfect organism, and that's a moray.
I was gonna make that joke when we got to the description. I was gonna say it looks like when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
That's a moray, yeah, for sure. When a dangerous fish thinks you'll make a good dish, that's a moray. But yeah, let's.
Okay, well, it's in the kingdom you know, love, and are in. The kingdom Animalia. It's in the phylum Chordata, and it's in the class Actinopterygii, the bony fish.
The bony fish, as opposed to the cartilaginous fish, like sharks.
Exactly. It's in the order Anguilliformes or Anguilliforms.
Formes, for sure.
Formes.
Anguilliformes.
Formes.
From Waz.
And then the family is Muranidae.
There's a lot of vowels in this one.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, no, I was looking at the suborder.
What is the suborder? An ultimate
one
with
with-
lettuce and tomato?
It's the Crunchwrap Supreme. It's kind of, it's very similar to what you just said, but with more vowels.
Interesting.
So it's meringue.
Merengue?
Oi day. Yeah, it's merengue.
Wow, that's a good one. And by that I mean it's a travesty of language. The genus, Gymnothorax or Gymnothorax.
I like gymnothorax. It does a lot of abs.
Yeah. It's in the species Javanicus or Havanicus, do you think?
I think it's like Java
Okay.
because of where it lives.
Gymnothorax javanicus.
Gymnothorax javanicus.
I like it.
Well, since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show. And that favorite part of the show is the one and only critter groups. During this part of the show, I ask Joe a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal? And we're talking about eels. So what is the term of venery or the collective noun of a group of eels? If you saw some eels just being eels somewhere, would you say, hey, look at that writhe, A, of eels? So it's A, writhe, B, bed of eels, C, spat of eels, or D, den of eels?
Writhe is very sensical.
And sensual.
It is indeed. I'm going to go with den. Final answer.
D for den?
D for den.
Incorrect. You should have gone with B for bed.
Okay.
It's a bed of eels.
A bed of eels and a bed of clams.
Yeah, it is a bed of clams also. Den, I thought would get you just because they like to live in those little caves. So, gotcha.
Yeah, it's really I can never tell if I should go with the nonsense one or the one that makes sense because they've done both. So,
You just have to think of what the eels want.
yeah.
But we've done eels before, even though we haven't done eels before. This is technically our first eel, but we did the electric eel, which was not an eel, but instead of knife fish.
Interesting. But this is an eel.
This is a true eel, yes.
If you've never seen a moray, would you like me to describe it?
I would like you to describe a moray to me. What is love in Italian?
It is a really long fish
Love is a really long fish.
with a snake-like body. They have dorsal and anal fins that run the length of their bodies, so it's like a snake with two fins on its top and bottom that are very long across along the length. It's hard to say a long fin and not conjure images of
The sunfish?
yeah, or a sailfish. It's not long in that direction. Giant morays, these particular ones, come in greenish gray to brown colors. Young eels can be tan, while adults have black speckles or leopard prints on their backs.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking.
Johanna would love it. She likes leopard print.
Really?
She does.
You should get her an eel.
She'd love it. She hates all pets. Well, she doesn't hate pets, but she doesn't want any.
Well, then an eel is probably not something she's going to want then.
No, because you have to have a salt tank. And,
it's a lot of work.
yeah. Plus, their gills are small and circular. That's not a negative or a positive. It's just a fact. They also have no scales. They are the scaleless, and their skin is covered in mucus.
Yum.
But
Kind of like the electric eel.
But that brings me to the only other dimension we haven't talked about, and that's their size.
So what is the size?
I'll tell you.
Tell us so we can move on.
I'll tell you with the interesting segment I like to call Measure Up. Welcome to the beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show where we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words Measure Up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
We don't have any new Measure Up intros, I don't think.
No.
As far as I looked the last time, but That means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos will guess what it is.
Can't wait.
Okay. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. Did you hear that?
Kinda?
Would you like to hear it again?
Sure. I said sure.
I'm doing it. It's loading.
Okay, I'm going to let you say the options because last time there have been a lot of times where I've just said what I think it is and then you just include it into the options.
I write down the 4 options every time. A is squirrel. Is it B, a crow? Is it C, a heron? Or is it D, a baby bear? What was your initial thought?
Young elephant seal.
Good guess.
Yeah, either that or a heron. I'm going to go with I guess herons. I'm going to go with heron.
It's a good guess. Crows, I included crows and baby bears should just be in all of these as a category because they can make a lot of different sounds. But heron, final answer.
Yes.
That's correct. That's a heron.
Yeah.
It's a great blue heron.
I didn't know they made noises, but I guess they have to like do a mating call or something like that.
Lots of things make noises. Johanna and I have been watching this show, and Jesse have been watching this show alone. It was on the History Channel. Now it's on Amazon Prime. And it's like people go out into the wilderness and like basically just film themselves trying to survive in Vancouver Island. And every time there's a bear, everyone is like, what is that sound? Like there's like a mother with young bears, and baby bears make the most hellish sounds. Like,
well, it's like a cat in heat.
There was a woman listening to birds, and then all of a sudden you hear like just this like guttural scream that sounds like something straight out of The Walking Dead. And she's like, what is that? And she walks and she sees like a baby bear across this bay. And it's just like, if you're out there and you hear that, you're like, that's the Wendigo. That's the full-on Wendigo.
Well, it's interesting. They did include these hellish screams into Disney Nature's Bears.
Or Disney's Brother Bear.
Brother Bear, yeah. There's very few hellish screams in that movie.
Let's get into it with length. The giant moray is the longest in its family at 3 meters or 9.8 feet. How many moray eels go into the longest ever sushi roll? Would you like a hint? So here's a hint. The record was achieved in Kumamoto, Japan.
You nailed it.
In November of 2016, the roll was created with the help of almost 400 people.
I wonder if it's like long and thin or enormous.
So I saw a video of the record. I think it was in 2011, but it's been broken by this one. That one like was a regular size sushi, but it was like in terms of like if you cut it up, you're going to eat a regular piece of sushi, but it's just extremely long.
Okay. I'm going to say 800 feet.
800 feet. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think that 400 people stood side by side and worked on 2 feet worth of sushi roll.
Now, I'm not sure that 400 people rolled the sushi or because it just said.
No, they did.
Okay.
That's literally the only mental anchor I have.
Okie dokie.
Wait. So the answer is 80. About. So we'll say 85.
85 eels, final answer.
Yeah. Yes.
The correct answer is 952.3 eels.
Oh my.
The roll was 2,844 meters or 9,332 feet.
Wow. What?
So, like, they put it all on this, like, bamboo, really long bamboo. You know how they roll sushi, right? With these, like...
I don't.
You put it on, like, this,
sushi.
like, bamboo mat, and then you roll the mat so that the rice and the seaweed roll over. So...
Yeah, but this is
really
2 miles worth of bamboo. I'm more impressed by the bamboo.
I really wanted to see a video of this, but I could only find the old one. But it's in the Guinness Book of World Records. I copied and pasted the length into it. It seems incredible to me, but yeah.
Now I feel like 400 people is not enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I feel like the sushi would go bad before you were done.
It didn't have meat in it. It had like some sort of pickled vegetable.
Oh, I didn't know that sushi could have things other than fish in it. I know it has things other than fish, but I didn't know you could have sushi without fish.
Guinness record pages are they only tell you the record facts. They don't tell you anything else. So it said something to the effect of it was made with. So that doesn't mean it didn't have fish in it, but it didn't mention fish. It just also maybe it could be saying it was made with this in addition to fish that of course we're not going to mention that. Of course it's made with fish. The Guinness Book of World Records pages are very sparse, but there's so many of them. So
interesting. That is a lot of sushi.
It is. Let's talk about weight. They're 30 kilograms or 66 pounds. It's pretty big, pretty hefty for a fish. How many krill will go into the weight of a giant moray?
Krill, huh?
Yeah, you hear about krill all the time. Let's talk about krill.
Nobody's talking about krill these days.
Here's a hint. Let's talk about krill a little bit. Krill are shrimp-like crustaceans that are a big part of the diet of whales, seals, squid, icefish, and penguins.
It's crazy that the biggest animals in the world eat some of the smallest things.
Yeah.
It's like you'd think that the blue whale and the right whale and the humpback whale would be designed to eat like orcas or something like that.
Guess what krill eat?
Plankton?
Plankton. If there was ever some sort of disease that killed plankton, the ocean would be done.
Yeah. I mean, I took a marine biology class in high school as an elective, and it always starts with the plankton. Without that, there's pretty much nothing in the ocean.
But then again, plankton isn't like a one specific thing. It's something very small that flows with the tides.
I mean, it's
plant
it's
plankton
ocean
and animal plankton.
Yeah, zooplankton. Phytoplankton and zooplankton. Mm-hmm. But that saying that like if you got rid of plankton, there would be nothing in the ocean would be like saying if you got rid of plants on Earth, there would be nothing else. It's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, everything kind of goes back to the plants, but
which I guess is why bees are so important because they help us get plants
and more plants. Those things are really small. I'm going to make the just fatal decision and say that they weigh an ounce. Or fine, I'll say that they weigh 1/4 of an ounce.
If only you knew grams.
Which means that 64 of them go into a pound. And this guy's 66 pounds. So it's 66 times 64. 4,224, give or take a few. I did that whole thing in my head. Just kidding, I didn't. 4,224. That's my final answer.
The correct answer is 15,000.
Oh.
Krill are 2 grams or 0.071 ounces.
Even if I knew grams, it wouldn't help because I've never held krill before.
Or what is that? 1,000 snowflakes? 1,000 snowflakes make a 2 milligrams? Is that how it works? Is that the metric system? I don't know. All I know is that an ounce is huge.
Really heavy. It's like I could work out with an ounce.
Are you ready to hear some fast facts?
Yeah.
Giant morays are widely distributed throughout the ocean, as with many ocean things, especially in the Indo-Pacific oceans. They can be found on the coast of Africa, the Red Sea, Polynesia, Japan, Fiji, and lots of other places. They, like me and mermaids and lots of things, enjoy lagoons. They also like coral reefs and pretty much anywhere they can find little crevices to hide in. They can be found anywhere between 1 and 50 meters deep. They are carnivorous, hunting prey mostly at night, so they're nocturnal. Sometimes they hunt cooperatively with other fish, specifically the roving coral grouper. This particular grouper hunts in open water near reefs. Reefs? Christopher Reefs? Reefs.
I only hunt when Superman's in the house.
Yeah, so they hunt in open water near reefs. Eel scare prey out of cover, while grouper do the opposite, scaring prey into cover. So whatever one of them doesn't catch, the other one gets.
It's just it's a catch-22 for the fish.
Yeah, it's a fish eat fish world.
It is.
They often hunt by ambushing, by striking from the cover of the reef. Their long bodies are adapted for life in reefs and in between rocks, where they can slip through small spaces aided by their slimy bodies. They eat crustaceans, sometimes, but mostly fish, with strong jaws that are designed for catching and munching on quick prey. Moray eels are natural predators of the lionfish, which is significant for Florida waters, where the invasive fish is wreaking havoc unchecked. For a long time, we thought they had no natural predators in Florida waters, but hopefully some moray eels can be the heroes we need and the heroes we deserve.
Morays aren't native to Florida waters either.
Well, giant morays aren't, but are other morays?
Do all morays eat lionfish? Because some of them are small.
That's true.
I can't imagine the smaller ones being able to kill a lionfish.
We're just gonna have to have a giant moray do a TED talk for the ones that live in the Atlantic, and how to kill and eat lionfish.
How to 10x your lionfish consumption.
How to TEDx your lionfish.
TEDx. It is a fish eat fish world out there, and it's surprising that that's not the saying. And instead it's dog eat dog, when dogs, even wild ones, don't tend to eat other dogs.
I guess a fish eat fish world is like, yeah, that's normal. But a dog eat dog world is like, things are brutal out there. Things are not as they should be.
But it's always said in a matter-of-fact way, like, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. It's never not a dog-eat-dog world.
That's
true. It's just like, hey, wake up and smell the roses. The world is brutal. But, like, dogs don't eat dogs. It's like saying sweating like a pig. They don't sweat. Or sleeping like a baby. They don't sleep.
That's true.
I guess it's ironic. But then you might as well say like an elephant eat elephant world, because like
that would be very disturbing. Yeah,
that would be extremely disturbing.
Because they don't even eat meat.
Exactly. That's why it's impossible.
Okay, so last thing, because of something called biomagnification, eels may be hazardous to humans when consumed. Biomagnification happens when toxins like pesticides and foodborne illnesses like ciguatera. It's a bad illness, apparently.
That sounds really bad.
Found in food. Animals that are high on the food chain eat things that eat things that eat things, which have these toxins in their body. So top predators have a compounding effect of these toxins, because the food you ate food, and all three of those things had these toxins. So you're at the top of the food chain, that animal's going to have the most toxins of all the levels of the chain. So
then sharks should be pretty toxic.
They probably are, but we don't normally eat sharks. So
eat their fins.
top predators often have enough toxins to make people sick. Other fish that can be harmful include tuna.
Really?
And the same thing is like there's like mercury poisoning from certain fish, or like high levels of mercury. I think it's the same principle of this biomagnification situation.
Huh.
I think. So other fish, the livers of these animals are particularly dangerous. So if you're going to eat a tuna, if you're going to eat an eel, don't eat the liver. And cook it really good. I try to find can you cook away ciguatera or pesticides, but I'm not really sure.
Remember we were talking about the
Because people
Greenland
eat eels.
shark and how it's toxic, but people in Scandinavia and stuff like that, there's a special way to cook it so that you can eat it without getting sick.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a technique.
I wonder if you can raise farm-raised eels and stuff and not have that problem.
Yeah, you'll probably have a better time farm raising some other fish.
Tuna.
Yeah, like tuna. Those things can get huge.
Yeah. I watched a really
fish.
satisfying video of these sushi chefs making sushi out of this huge tuna, and they had swords for their cutting implements.
That's the only way to do it.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, it's time for the major fact. So morays have a unique way of getting a grip on life. So they mostly eat fish and cephalopods and little crustaceans and mollusks and things like that. But most of their food is slippery and fast, like fish and cephalopods, which can be a problem for an ambush predator like the moray. So when a tasty morsel swims by, it strikes at it with its fierce jaws that are able to crush bone. But it also has a secret weapon. It has a second, smaller set of jaws that are located just behind the first major pair of jaws. And these secondary jaws, called pharyngeal jaws, I thought it was pharyngeal, but the National Geographic video said pharyngeal, so we're going to go with that. These jaws, they rest at the top of the eel's throat, and they shoot out to grasp the prey that's already clutched in the main oral jaws. And then they retract and drag the prey into the throat hole. And so this is why you heard in the intro that this is like a sci-fi animal, because if you've ever seen the movie Alien, the alien, just a great name for the alien.
Well, it's called the xenomorph.
Yeah, they don't call it that in the movie though.
I think they do. Maybe not
Do
the
they?
first one.
Yeah, maybe later on. But the alien has these regular jaws that are scary enough, but then it opens his mouth and a second pair of tiny mini jaws come out and will kill people. But and it's weird how it uses it. It doesn't use it to grasp. It uses it to punch through.
Yeah.
But it's a really similar thing with the moray eel. Even though the pharyngeal jaws don't extend out past the oral jaws very, very far. So the moray eel is not the only one with pharyngeal jaws. A lot of fish have them, but they are the only ones that can extend them out enough to capture prey. But the question is, why do they need these jaws? You know, a lot of other fish, sharks, barracudas, groupers, they seem to have no problem eating slippery smackerels of fish without the help of a xenomouth. So the understanding behind this is the fact that most other fish swallow their prey by sucking water in with negative pressure like a vacuum. So all they need to do is expand their mouths and throats, and that forces water to rush in, and whatever prey that was floating in front of their mouths is now suddenly inside their stomach, or at least in their jaws. But the moray eel can't create this vacuum. So it has no way of actually swallowing food, even once it has it in its mouth. So instead, the moray sacrifices suction power for speed and accuracy when striking. So when anything moves underwater, it displaces the water around it, usually in all directions. But you can reduce how much water you displace in certain directions, and that's how things are like hydrodynamic. So if you were to go underwater in a pool and try to punch something like a ball or something suspended underwater, you would actually move the ball before your fist ever reached it.
It's like punching underwater. You never hit what you're trying for. John Mayer.
Oh. Okay.
It's John Mayer lyric.
I don't remember that lyric.
Anyway, I already know
any
that.
of my favorite songs.
I already know that fact because John Mayer taught me. He also told me that your body is a wonderland, so I know that fact as well.
Scientifically?
For a wonderland for bacteria.
Yeah. But yeah, you went to the hydrodynamic school of John Mayer. But yeah, so like I said, if you're gonna move the ball with the water that you're pushing ahead of your fist before your fist ever hits it, and so that lack of precision is a problem for an animal that's all about precision, like a quick, fast strike. If it's pushing water in front of it when it goes for a crab or a small like cuttlefish or something like that, it might miss, and then the animal gets away, and it's the eel doesn't chase its prey. So if it misses, it misses and can't eat that animal anymore, unless it comes back around. So it has to be able to hit when it strikes. So the way it does this is it has its gills are small and circular and face kind of behind it, and it lets water flow through its open mouth and through the gills as it strikes, which streamlines the eel's head and significantly reduces the amount of water it's pushing forward when it strikes. So that allows it to be pretty accurate when it and fast when it's striking its prey. But now that it has its prey in its mouth, it doesn't the fact that the gills are like this make it so that it can't suck in the prey further into its throat and stomach. So enter the junior jaws. The pharyngeal jaws come out, grab the prey, still alive and kicking, and bring it into its throat for it to die slowly.
It's the only animal on Earth that does this.
Yeah, only animal on Earth that uses pharyngeal jaws to latch onto and drag prey further into its mouth. Other animals have the pharyngeal jaws.
They should just be called pharyngeal jaws.
Pharyngeal.
Because they're the only ones that got them.
No, other animals have pharyngeal jaws.
Oh.
But these can be extended out in order to capture prey. Other animals have pharyngeal jaws that help prey stay in, but they're not mobile.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Oh, I see.
So that's the moray eel, and all moray eels can do that, not just the giant moray eel.
But the giant moray eel does it giantly.
Yeah, he does it the most.
The biggest.
He does it the biggest. And they only found out about this about like 30-ish years ago. And they even more... No, wait. 10 years ago. Sorry. It was 10 years ago that they discovered that they have these backup jaws. And only very recently did they figure out about this whole hydrodynamic thing that corresponds with it.
The eels invented it when they tried to eat the same snack twice.
What?
Have you heard the meme that's going around that was like...
No, I haven't heard the meme that's going around, Joe.
The meme is like running was invented when Thomas Running tried to walk twice.
That's not a good joke.
It's very good. It's a non sequitur. It's Or what is it? I don't know. It's ridiculous is what it is. So ridiculous, it just might work.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I gotta brush up on my memes. Do we still do rage comics?
No. That's gone by the wayside, actually. Sometimes you'll see those little faces pop up, though.
I like what's the new one? Bad Luck Brian. That's the good one.
Oh.
Oh, we've come such a long way.
That guy's
in
all
meme,
grown up
meme
now.
culture.
That's a full-grown adult now. Bad Luck Brian probably has a beard. And he probably has regular luck.
Yeah, he's probably graduated to some at least mediocre luck. So that's the Moray Eel, the giant Moray Eel, but Moray Eels in general. So for you out there in Podcastia, stay in your den, keep an eye out for food and danger, and always make sure to take advantage of your secondary pharyngeal jaw when feeding like the Moray Eel here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy. Hey everyone, Carlos here. We need your help to get the word out about our podcast so that more people can be taxonomically titillated on a weekly basis. You can help us out by connecting with us on Twitter and Facebook, telling everyone you know about all the interesting animal info you now possess, and leaving a review for us on your favorite podcasting app. We love to hear from you, and you can also let us know if there's an animal you'd like us to cover in the coming weeks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Testing.
1, 2,
Buckle my
3.
shoe. 3, 4. Open the door.
3, 4. I don't have a shoe that buckles. What is this, Puritan times?
Puritan 10 times is scary.
Puritan 10 times. That was back in the good old year of Puritan 10.
Puritan 10, 12.
The War of Puritan 12.
Puritan.